Hey everyone, it's Nightlight9. Raise your hand if you've been wiped in the first 15 seconds of floor 57 in the battle tower. And feel free to keep it raised if that's happened more than once. Well, stick around and I'll show you how to solve that problem. With the latest update, we now have the new battle tower campaign. So I figured that a lot of people are going to start focusing on their battle tower to get these draw tickets. And for those of you who've slept on your battle towers, that actually may turn out to be somewhat of a blessing, because any new floor counts toward clearing the campaign. It does not have to be one of the newly released floors. For those of you who already had cleared floor 50, well, you've got your work cut out for you. Now, for those of you asking why I'm starting out by making a guide for floor 57, good question. It's because I was on Reddit this morning and that was a floor that was pointed out as being significantly more difficult than the previous floors. And as you could tell from the first 10 seconds of this video, that tracks with my personal experience. So let's get in with the build. The thing that makes this floor so difficult is the fire rangdas in the beginning all do an AoE flame move simultaneously just about, but it does massive amounts of damage. And so our primary person here to deal with that is going to be the love of my life, Tifa. And what we're going to use with Tifa is the thing that I use in so many of my guides. We're using Tiger Fangs with Upper Shot. Upper Shot does magical attack decrease, which we're going to use to lower their ability to do damage, because the first thing they'll do right before they charge the fire AoE move is they will all give themselves a high potency magic buff. So, if you don't have Tifa, by the way, Red 13's Junk Collar with Frenzied Fang can do the same thing. So can Solid Bazooka on Barret. But, as I said, I love Tifa, and I don't have Red leveled, so Tifa is once again my clutch debuffer. Other than that, I'm really focused on HP and magic defense, because it is even with the debuffs. We aren't going to have time to debuff all three of them. We'll get two of them at best, and you're still going to be very close to dying, and you'll see that in the video. For this, we're using Crystal Gloves as the main weapon, and that is mostly just for HP here. I already mentioned Tiger Fangs. We're going with Somersault because with this build, we're going slow and steady, so we are going to need every bit of help we can get as far as dealing extra damage. So because the fire rangdas are weak to ice, we are going with ice on everybody. The guide suggests that you use physical attacks. However, because Crystal Gloves is the slots are magic boosts, I went with magic on Tifa as far as, which kind of materials I bring. No sigils are required. This is just a stat stick down here. For sub equipment, I used all free items, all event items, as I have been trying to do to be as free to play friendly as possible. Chocobo Staff might seem like a weird choice, but it does give quite a bit of magic defense, and Tifa was severely lacking in that department. Going over to Aerith, we have her set up for heals. AoE heal is going to be pretty important. We have Mithril Rod as her secondary weapon for Saving Grace, which will also just help us survive that initial burst damage. Other than that, she has fire and ice damage. Sub-equipment, all free items. These two items are both just for survivability, pure survivability. The new Pumpkin Blaster, gives her extra heal, that's always good, and magic defense. And so although she has the lowest HP pool, she is going to make up for that by having a significant advantage in the magic defense department. And last, we have Sephiroth. Sephiroth, the only reason I'm running Torn Wing as his main weapon is because I wanted to set him up to do as much physical attack as possible. As you can see, I'm still struggling to get his physical attack higher, but I wanted to, use physical attack abilities because that is what the enemies are more vulnerable to. For sub-equipment, all free weapons again. These two are for ice resistance. The Shiva's Blade is for fire resistance, because even after I was able to semi-survive that first blast, because this magic defense is so low, without the fire resist, Sephiroth was still dying. So you're going to need to do everything you can to just survive that first blast. Other than that, we have ice and fire damage. This was just for physical attack and HP, mostly the HP because he was really, I was having a lot of trouble keeping him alive. We have him set up with Cura here, and I did this for 2 reasons. One, the weapon materia slot gives him a little bit of a boost to his healing potency, and having a backup healer isn't the worst thing. But also, this is one of the materias I have with the highest magic defense, and I was really struggling to get that on him. So, that is the full team setup, 144,000 power, well below the recommended nearly 223,000 power. So, without further ado, we will get into the fight. Okay, wave 1 versus the baddies. First thing you want to do, get on Tifa, target the middle fire rangda, which should be auto-targeted, jam upper shot as quickly as you possibly can, immediately switch targets, and you're going to do 1 more upper shot on him to try to debuff him. Note, you will need to switch stances before the upper shot animation is over, otherwise you will take enough damage to probably kill multiple members of your party. Aerith should do a heal automatically while you're in that stance. If she doesn't, immediately get on her. Then switch targets to the other fire rangda who has not been debuffed. Upper shot them as well. One thing the AI actually is good about is they like to prioritize debuffs. So for a majority of these fights, as long as you switch the focus to the enemy you want Tifa to debuff, if they are not currently debuffed, she will cast upper shot on them the majority of the time. Now, sometimes you'll see that I pop over to her to forcefully cast it, but the AI is pretty good about that. The immediate next thing you want to do is try to burst down one of them. So once you have them all kind of initially debuffed, you jump over, you burst one down. Keep them all debuffed. If you noticed here, I've switched targets again, and Tifa automatically casts upper shot because he is not debuffed. And you'll see here that this round of Flame Dance goes significantly different than the first round. We have quite a bit more HP. And here, Tifa's limit is up again. You could somersault again if you want to burst this one down. It all depends on how your damage is. I'm okay with slowing this part down a little bit because my number one focus now that I know that I'm going to survive is getting everybody topped up on heals going into wave 2. So if you just kind of keep him debuffed, his damage isn't really that scary. He will continue to just kind of cast single target stuff. It's not that big of a deal. And your goal here is just to build your limits back up as much as possible, keep everybody healed so that you can be going into wave 2 with, just the best stats you can. Now for wave 2, I've sped up most of this gameplay because this one just kind of takes a little bit of time. My main focus here is to kind of get both of them down a little bit. I don't want to focus the Ice Bomb too much because I don't want him to get down below 50% HP to do his big burst move. And I want to be able to kind of kill him off pretty easily. So I'm holding off on doing too much damage because I know that I'm going to use Hellfire. That's going to bring him pretty low. So I'm just kind of waiting for the right time. Now, it would stand to reason that killing the Cerulean element at the right time to be able to kill the Ice Bomb off would make sense. However, he's significantly more tanky, and so ultimately I think you're just spending a larger part of the battle focusing on two different enemies damaging you, and I just don't really think that that's necessary. Plus, because Cerulean element is pretty tanky, it's really easy to make sure that you're kind of healed up, you charge things up a little bit more before the final boss. So here, I just kill off the more dangerous guy first at the right time, making sure that I can, kill him by the time I get him below 50% HP. So then from here, it's just kind of doing damage, doing heals, trying to make sure you're, where you want to be for that final fight. He does cast Blizzard at a pretty high frequency, though, so at some point you may, kind of sacrifice some heals just to get this over with. Alright, and now we are on to the boss wave. Now, I kept this fight sped up as well because otherwise it takes me quite a while. Like I said in the beginning, we went with the slow and steady build because we wanted survivability, so we prioritized that. We did not prioritize damage because there wasn't really a mechanic where we needed to race anybody. So the main strategy here, and if you'll notice, I constantly am popping back and forth with my targeting, trying to keep both of them debuffed on their magic. And so you can kind of see as soon as I find out one isn't, I pop over, or as far as the targeting goes, I switch over to the other one so that Tifa will cast her upper shot. And I keep going back and forth, just trying to keep both of them magically debuffed so that they can't do a whole lot of damage. They will do a double attack move or a double cast, and it can do a significant amount of damage, that frigid breath. So you really want to keep everybody debuffed, because then you don't get into this healing race with Aerith where ultimately it can be really hard for her to catch up and actually get kind of dangerous where somebody has, 1,000 or less HP. So just keep debuffing. I even jump over to Tifa to make sure it's happening in this fight, because we've made it this far and we really don't want to die. And so you can tell throughout this battle that I am constantly trying to keep both of them with that magic down, or at best as low of a magic buff as I can get them to have. So pretty much you just keep going back and forth, and then I always have one in this game. I used the right one. I kind of tried to prioritize him more for damage with the somersaults, etc. Once you get one down, I mean, you're pretty much in the clear. But you can see here, even Aerith there got pretty low. But that is that. You just keep doing that, and if you get the one down, it's you're in the clear. Now, with that being said, as we finish this fight up, I do want to say I realize that there are other floors, beneath floor 57 that people may be struggling with, and I would like to create content for those as well if those are necessary. So, as usual, leave a like if this helped you, but also if there's another floor, floor 50, 51, that you are struggling with and would like me to create a video on, leave a comment. If it gets enough likes, I will absolutely make that one next. Thank you.